Hi guys, today I want to talk about feeling that you're entitled to better than you are or going for those out of your league. Now let me preface it with going for those out of your league is not such a bad thing. However, you need to understand and accept that if they feel that you're not what they're looking for, then they're going to say no, and you need to be okay with that. You're the one who has chosen to go out of your league. So what's the worst thing in the world is men who approach a woman who's clearly out of her league. Now, he might be scruffy, alcohol drinking, cigarette hanging off his fingers, wearing a pair of stubbies and thongs, and he might be a complete and utter bogan. Not saying there's anything wrong with bogans, I'm just as an example for this video. And he goes and asks out a woman who's clearly done up and wearing designer clothing and all the rest of it. Now, if he goes for somebody like that and she turns him down, he needs to accept that that was probably going to be the case. He cannot get angry and abusive and call her a whore and all this other disgusting stuff because he feels like he's entitled to better than he is. He's not. And I'm not saying this person's better or whatever, but he needs to understand that he's going for somebody who is out of his league. Now, I'm not saying that this never happens, that somebody out of your league won't like you back. It does happen. But when you go for somebody who's out of your league, you need to accept that they're probably going to say no. That's okay, and you need to be all right with it. It is not under any circumstances okay to abuse somebody or think that you deserve that. Nobody deserves anybody else, even if they are in the same league. Nobody deserves anybody else. Nobody owes you their time. Nobody owes you a date. Nobody owes you a smile. Nobody owes you sex. Nobody owes you dinner. Nobody owes you anything. So you need to be okay with anyone saying no to you, no matter if they're in your league, but especially if they're out of your league. They have every right under the sun to say no. And you need to stop taking it personally as well. Because perhaps they're just not in the headspace right now to date. Perhaps they're gay. Perhaps they have a boyfriend. Perhaps they are pursuing somebody else or interested in someone else, so nobody else is on their radar at the moment. Perhaps you're just not their type. Whatever the reason is, you need to accept that not everybody has to date them just because you ask them out. Or just because, oh, I approached her nicely and I was polite and all the rest of it. Nobody owes you anything. Now, it works the same in reverse. If you can't sort of get your head around that, guys, let's talk about it in the reverse. If an overweight, smelly, bogan woman with a cigarette hanging out of her mouth and a stubby in the other hand went up to this metrosexual guy, who's clearly good looking, clearly got his shit together, and asked him out, should she then abuse him when he says no? Or should she have just gone, the chances of him saying yes are going to be really slim, and I'm going to accept that. If you can't accept it, don't ask. Now, another reason that women might be saying no to you is where you're asking and why you're asking and how long you've known them before you're asking. If you're going and asking somebody on the street, nobody wants to be approached like that. They don't know you from a bar of soap. Even if you were a good-looking guy in a suit. If you stopped a woman walking down the street on her way to work who's just clearly minding her own business and trying to get to work, she's going to think you're weird. Don't ask women out on the street. Don't catcall them. Don't do any of that. You need to meet her in an appropriate situation. Whether it be someone you get to know at work, somebody introduced to you by friends, somebody at a singles bar. Pick the right situation to approach someone. Approaching them on the street. Approaching them in the supermarket, which can work, but depends about how the way you go about it. And I might do another video on that one day. Leave me a thumbs up if you'd like me to. You have to know where it's appropriate to ask somebody out. And remember that if she says no, and you continue to ask or pressure, that is sexual harassment. You're never going to get anywhere if you do any of these things. Now, touching back on it being, feeling like you're entitled. This is an issue I notice with a lot of men. They feel like because they're male, they're entitled to better than they are, younger than they are, slimmer than they are, better looking than they are, more healthy than they are, all the rest of it. Why? Why do you deserve more than what you are because you've got a piece of flesh between your legs? This is really quite disgusting, guys. You need to stop this. I know somebody who's in his 60s, and he started falling for this woman who he sort of met through, she was doing a job for, not for him, but anyway. And she was in her 40s, right? Almost 20 years younger than him. Now, he is overweight, balding, nothing to look at. His personal hygiene is questionable. And he has a very, very severe health problem and could possibly die within the next so many years. But he went for this and asked out this woman who was really pretty, slim, in her 40s, healthy, had a decent job, all the rest of it. He asked her out. Now, there's nothing really wrong with that, but, I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm in my early 40s, and I would not date a guy in their 60s, because that would that would make me think he's my father's age. I'm not going to date my father. That's just, ugh. And there might be some guys that like, some girls that like older guys. Fair enough, good for them. But the odds of somebody in their 40s going for somebody in their 60s is going to be extremely, extremely slim, especially if you don't have anything spectacular to offer. What are you going to offer her but an old man who may die soon, who's overweight, nothing to look at, questionable hygiene? Why do you feel that you deserve that 40-something-year-old? You don't. Now, he asked her out once, and she said no. And he asked her out again, or brought it up, or spoke about it at some time later, and she had to tell him, look, I thought I told you, rah, rah, rah. So, guys, as soon as she said no, that should have been it. He should have gone, of course not. Why would someone go for somebody my age? That's just ridiculous. And I'm not saying it never happens. I'm just saying it's extremely, extremely rare. Now, he was saying sometime after that he met somebody else who was a bit closer to his age, but still several years younger, maybe in their 50s, late 50s, not sure. Probably about 6 years younger though, I think. And what he said, I can't remember the exact words, but basically what I got from that conversation was he felt like he deserved somebody younger than he is. He's saying something like, if I'm with a woman, that she has to be younger than me or something. Why? Why do you deserve that? What if women went around saying, if I'm with a man, he has to be younger than me? But women don't. We don't feel entitled to having better than we are. Men, you need to stop doing this. You're not entitled to anyone, especially those better than you are, just because you have a piece of flesh between your legs. Women out there are not put on this earth for you. And therefore, you don't get to say, only younger women is what I'm going to have. You get what's interested in you. And you choose from that. You don't get to choose whoever out there you want, whatever age you want, however attractive and slim and everything and all the rest of it, all these qualities that you don't have. That's just not on. You don't get to be entitled. You are not entitled to better than you are. If you get better than you are, great. That person's interested in you, fantastic. But stop saying they must be younger than me. They must be slim if you're not slim. They must be good looking if you're not good looking. They must have a great job if you don't have a great job. Okay, you are not entitled to better than you are. So count your lucky stars if you found someone who's better than you are. But don't ever, 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 ever expect a yes when you ask somebody out who's better than you are. Now, I just want to talk a little bit more about going for those out of your league. in the reverse, I hate people, especially men, saying, "Oh, she's out of my league. I'm not even going to go for her." Because there are a lot of men out there on the opposite side of the spectrum that think everyone's out of their league when they're actually not. And there are a lot of women out there with low self-esteem who think, "Oh, he wouldn't go for me," when they're actually a really lovely person. So I want you to not think everybody's out of your league unless you can clearly see they would never date you. But by the same token, accept that they will probably say no. So you need to have a happy balance here, guys. Because there's a lot of guys who are out clubbing or whatever, and they see some chick and, "Oh, I won't even bother going for her. She's out of my league." Well, she's probably not, you know. The best looking chicks going out clubbing generally don't get anyone approach them because of this attitude, especially here in Australia. So be that guy that approaches her, because she's probably not getting any attention at all because guys are too scared of her because they think she's too good looking. Guess what, guys? It's just makeup. It's just clothes, hair, makeup. She probably sits in the mirror at home before she does her makeup and thinks that she's a 6. And then she goes out and she's all done up and she's a 9 or she's a 10. And you just think she's a 9 or a 10. But guys, she's not. She's a 6. So don't feel like you can't approach somebody. But just make sure that if you're approaching a woman who dresses well and speaks well and takes care of herself, really I wouldn't approach her if you don't take care of yourself. If you've got bad hygiene, if you're scruffy as anything, if you're walking around in thongs and stubbies and all the rest of it, don't go for someone like that. She's not going to be interested. I mean, you can go for her if you want, but you, like I said, you need to accept that she's probably going to say no and you need to be okay with that. But like I said, other end of the spectrum, stop thinking everybody's out of your league, because they're not. If you've got a good job, if you're at least average looking, if you've got good personal hygiene, if you've got trendy clothes, whatever the case may be, don't not approach that girl at the club just because you think she's better looking than you, because she's probably not. Take all the makeup off and she's probably not. And just touching on this whole guys saying girls fake their looks and they feel so deceived when they finally see them without their makeup and all the rest of it. Yeah, look, I can see where you're coming from. It is false advertising, but do you know what? It's not good to get crack up about this because guys can wear makeup. There are a lot of men out there who cover up blemishes with foundation or whatever. Some guys that wear guy liner. You can if you want to. It's just that you're so caught up in what men do and machoism that you won't do it. So you can if you want to. Nobody's stopping you. Women are not stopping you. It's other men that are. So don't get up the women. Now the other thing about that is guys are known for faking interest in a relationship just to get sex. So, you know, what would you rather, guys? Would you rather someone fake the way they look or someone fake being interested just to get sex and then they leave? That's not cool. So we both have our areas, and I think faking that you're interested in a relationship to get sex is a lot worse than putting some makeup on. You'll eventually see her without the makeup. But sadly, girls often don't see through guys pretending that they want a relationship when really they just wanted sex, until it's too late and they're hurt. You're not going to get hurt by someone wearing makeup. And the minute you see her without makeup, you can leave if you want. So, guys, I really am sick and tired of seeing girls bashed for wearing makeup, because there's a lot of things that guys do worse than wearing makeup. I can guarantee it, especially speaking from personal experience. So I'd really like to see you either try and stick to someone in your own league. If you go out of that league, expect a no. But by the same token, if it's just that you're average and she's a 9, then don't think that automatically she's out of your league. You can still give it a go, because she may not be. And like I said, she might not be getting attention from anybody else because everybody thinks she's out of their league. And what if she doesn't think you're under her, not in her league? What if she does find you attractive? There's plenty of average guys that end up with beautiful women because there's something about them the woman likes, or they approach them in a really good way. They were confident, they spoke nicely, they were respectful. It's all about the way you approach people too. You know, if you've got a great sense of humour, that can make you attractive. But you just might be her type, but you just think you're average, but there's something about you that's her type. So don't automatically dismiss yourself just because you're a 6 and she's a 9 or a 10. Still give it a go, but be okay with it if she says no. Because, like I said, it might not even be personal. She just might not be in a headspace right now for a relationship. She might have her eye on someone else. Whatever the case may be. Stop taking it personally. Stop getting upset. Just accept that they don't want to date you. Anyway, guys, that was a bit of a rant one because I am really tired of seeing some of these things. And I hope that some of it hit home with you if you're one of those people. And if you'd like me to do a video on how to approach a woman, how to approach her properly, and not turn her off and not scare her off and not intimidate her, give me a thumbs up and I might make one in the future. But from Aussie land, farewell.